But here we are with the Gucci piano, because the Gucci piano is very fun. And you guys want to know something funny too? I actually learned this opening from Hans Niemann. I saw Hans Niemann play this, and I looked into it, and I actually really liked how it played out. Reviewing 3 full strive chess games that I played against cheaters. Every single one of these games is actually kind of crazy. As you can see, they all have a skip mark right here to show their flair, which is banned for fair play, banned for fair play, banned for fair play. If you play chess, don't cheat. If you crash out and you want to win games, don't cheat. It's not worth it, bro. You literally just make actual chess players upset with you, and then chess.com is just going to ban you, bro. It's not worth it, bro. Don't cheat. This is my message to all of you who tune into this video to not cheat. So, with that being said, let's start our first cheater game. So whenever I play with white, I am an e4 player because e4 is obviously the best opening in chess. Better than goofy d4, better than c4, better than knight h3. I'm just kidding. There's a lot of good openings out there, but I like e4. So my opponent responds with the Scandinavian defense, and I have a prep that I play against every time, which is pushing the pawn forward. I like this because, yes, it looks like I'm kind of overextending my pawn, but my plan is to eventually push here and then defend this pawn, and it's usually ends up being pretty solid. So when my opponent plays here, I can no longer play here first, because if I do that, I will have a slight misadvantage in the position. So the first move I have to play is here. And then my idea is to eventually go here, which is what I played in the game. So after I played here, my opponent plays takes, I take back, and then we get queen b6, which is a very, very interesting move. I am not too certain what my opponent was thinking here. I think I actually took a little bit of time here, and I actually played a bad move. I played queen a4 here, and my thought process here was, okay, I'm going to pin the knight to the king, and then I'm also going to simultaneously still defend this pawn. Whereas in reality, I probably should have played something like bishop. It says bishop d3 would have been. Ooh, wait, bishop d3. What? Well, bishop d3. Does that just hang a pawn? That's bad, right? Or what? Knight of 3? Okay, I'm not a GM, so I don't really know why that's a good move. But anyways, I played here. Probably like the worst possible move I could have played, other than simply quite literally sacking my queen, which I guess could have been fun. Or playing like here. But I moved my queen there, and like I said, that was my plan. And so the reason why this is bad is because the queen can actually still take. And after the queen takes, which I apparently didn't see because I forgot my reading glasses while playing this game, I was thinking, oh, it's still covered, but the knight isn't actually pinned anymore, because after I take the queen back, the knight can just take, because it, like I said, it's no longer being pinned to the king. So I take back, he takes back, and so now I am just down a clean pawn. And at this point, I am not panicking, but I am just like, oh, this is kind of annoying. Why am I down? I cannot believe I just blundered on move 6 in an opening that I am very, very, like, I would argue I am very familiar with the Scandinavian. I've seen it thousands of times. So after he takes, I went bishop d3, and then my opponent played bishop f5. A good move. It's a decent move, because after I take, he just gets his knight out of danger. So that's what happens. Takes. And then knight f3. Pawn pushes to e6. Pawn a3, played by me. Then we get bishop c5. Bring the bishop out, and now it looks like he's trying to castle, Mr. Cheater. Pawn pushes to b4. Bishop slides back to b6. And like it's just the whole thing. Like whenever I see moves that are played in a, realistically for most engines, when people do cheat, they're using an engine that is between, like whenever a move is played, the move will usually take between 3 to 10 seconds roughly. And quite literally most of his moves were played like that. And I'm guessing he used a pretty trash Stockfish engine, because a lot of the times he's not playing the best move. I mean, here he did, but... So he played knight d4. I took the knight, because obviously when you're down material, you definitely want to get more material off your side when you're down. Duh. I am lying. Don't do that. Keep material on the board. Bishop takes, and now, while that is all happening, I'm also going to lose this knight eventually as well. My only move is to play the bishop here, which is what play the bishop there. But this knight is going to fall, and honestly, he probably doesn't even want to take it initially. He can take the pawn first, because the knight is still being pinned to the rook. So after this, I slide my rook over to get out from under that pin. And now he slides his rook over. And now I need to move my knight, probably. But instead I castled, which isn't the worst move on the board. And after this, we get knight e7. Again, the best move on the board, played in 6 seconds. Played here. Pawn pushes. And I don't know why he played. That was probably his normal move he would have played, because he's probably like 10 elo. Knight jumps in now, because I'm trying to create some kind of counter threat. Now his knight moves. And he used a lot of time on that one. So that one he probably thought about. Now he's probably trying to figure out how to play. And I pushed the pawn, and I actually found this move pretty quickly, about 20 seconds. My thought process is, okay, the pawn is covered by everything. Like the pawn is covered by the bishop, so the bishop is going to have to go back this way. The bishop can go here, but eventually it will have to move again. And it actually would get trapped. Yeah, the bishop went here would get trapped because you can't take here because the knight's still covering, and the bishop comes back here, here, or here. Takes. You see the vision. Anyway, so he slides his bishop back, and that is a costly mistake, and he actually used a little bit of time there. Believe it or not, it's crazy when they start using a little bit of time, they just magically start making mistakes. So he slides his bishop back here. And my best move now is to obviously take the pawn here on e6, which is what I do. I find the best move. So I was proud of myself for that. So now it is a dead even position. And he magically finds the best move because he probably got scared now. And he did use a little bit of time here too. So if he played this move for real, kudos to him. But chess.com says he cheated, and I also think he cheated. So bishop slides back now. Now I bring my rook over because why not just double up the rooks? Build the pressure. This knight has to stay here to prevent this from being a threat. However, he can still slide his rook down, which is what he does. So he slides his rook down to d7. And after this, I play knight d6 check. A great move. This is better than... Ooh, it actually says... Wait. Can I play here? No, I can't play here because the rook would just take. But yeah, I found this move. And the reason why this is a great move is because if the rook takes, I just take. Because his bishop's pinned. But he finds the best move, which is king f8. Which is a logical move. It's a logical move to find. Again, found in 5 seconds. He's probably starting to get scared now. And I played knight f5. And if you want to pause the video and try and find the best move on the board, go ahead. But the best move here is to play king f7. I don't think a lot of people would have been able to find that move. A more logical move. Like why would you do that? It's like a 8-move sequence there. But he finds it magically in about 16 seconds. So in this spot, I push the pawn, and that loses on the spot. Because now I hung a check. And after check comes on the board, I move my king. Or do I? I need to go king f1. And in this position, my opponent sacrificed his knight. He found that move in 12 seconds. And, I mean, the idea is pretty obvious here as well. Because if I take, I'm going to lose the rook. Best move here is to just take with the f rook. Or, sorry, the rook on the 6 file. Takes, and probably take with the f pawn. Makes sense. We found that move pretty quickly, and it was a little tilted there. I was like, how did he find that? When I went and reviewed this game, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. There's no way. So I take the pawn here. Now his knight jumps into d3, attacking my rook. So now I have to move my rook, and I found a decent square for it. And by the way, my knight's hanging. And he finds it. Reasonable find. A lot of chess players would have found that. And then he moved his rook over. I take. That was the only move I could have played there to not lose material. And I'll just go ahead and speed up the rest of this game here for you. I ended up blundering a fork. I was trying to get some kind of last-ditch effort to create some kind of checkmating threat, but at the end of the day, I ended up losing. So that is great. And this was also when I was 2,000 EO, so I was a little more upset too. And by the way, these games are going to be a little bit time-spaced between, because I wanted to try and find some games where I encountered cheaters. I got banned on chess.com. So All right, with that being said, guys, let's get into our second game. Alrighty, so for our second game, we have Homie, who is from Germany. And I am not going to spare you the details of clicking on his account because it's going to mess up the screen. But this guy has only played 40 games. And by the way, that last guy, too, in game 1, he only played like 30 games. And that was another tell. If they have just made the account and they're playing perfectly, chances are they're cheating. So, just fair warning for you. Be aware of cheaters. Don't cheat. Hashtag no cheating. Stop cheating. Anyways, what else would I play with white? E4. Best move on the board. Obviously. My opponent responds with E5. I play knight f3. My opponent plays knight c6. Bishop c4. Bishop c5. And we have a very lovely Gucci piano game. This is my strongest, one of my strongest opening. My strongest opening is probably easily the Carl Khan. But here we are with the Gucci piano. Because the Gucci piano is very fun. And you guys want to know something funny too? I actually learned this opening from Hans Niemann. I saw Hans Niemann play this and I looked into it. And I actually really liked how it played out. So eventually you're like if he ever moves his knight here, you gotta push this pawn. And then you're going to castle, and your goal is to, after you get your knight here, bring the rook over, bring the knight here, and then your goal is to get here, and if the bishop ever gets here, you push this pawn, if the bishop goes back, you get the idea, but essentially you're trying to launch a massive attack coming down this file. So my opponent responds with knight to f6, and now I played a move that I played probably thousands of times, which is pawn to d3, like I just said, and now we get d6, still very principled. Nothing suspicious about this. All this is main theory and pretty popular. I castle now. My opponent castles. I slide the bishop back. And the reason why I slide my bishop back is because I don't like it when his knight can get here. I like to be able to have an escape route. One of my goals is to eventually get this bishop back and then be able to push this pawn while also still defending this pawn. Just an idea. But my opponent plays h6. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've ever seen h6 in my entire life in this spot. And it's mainline theory. Go off, I guess. So now after this we get knight bd2 from me. And I don't really know why I slid my bishop back here. I guess I got scared. I didn't need to do anything with this bishop yet. This bishop is creating threatening here. I think my best move would have been rook e1, yep, and that is a top entry move. But I move my bishop here. Now my opponent pushes. Now I push the pawn, trying to prevent his bishop from getting here. Then my opponent plays d5. And this is a very complex position. This is a spot where a lot of people should use time if they are in unfamiliar spots. There's so much happening in this position. Knights, there's two knights, a bishop's coming down here. Queens are threatening, rooks are threatening, queens are threatening, bishops are covering, bishops are being blocked, knights, yada yada, the list goes on. But in this position, I played rook e1. It is a good move. A lot of people probably would have just taken the pawn, and taking the pawn is actually the best move on the board. But I'm always scared of this because now this pawn can start getting through eventually. Obviously not right now. He would lose that pawn because I have 3 pieces covering that square. But yeah, no. So essentially, essentially I'm always scared of doing that. So I didn't really like that. But and apparently that's not even the top entry move. Bishop a4. Wow, pinning the knight to the rook. But I played a logical move that I feel like I would play in any given scenario. And my opponent now pushes the pawn, which is very interesting. And kind of annoying at the same time, because if I ever push, now his knight gets in. If I take, his bishop gets in. And there's just so many things happening that I can't stop. And it annoys me. So I didn't want to do that. So I played knight f1, bring the knight back. And like I said earlier on in this game, I'm trying to get my knight here, so that was my thought process there. My opponent plays b5 now. And he played this move in 7 seconds. And I don't know how the hell you ever find b5. I don't even know what b5 does. Like, would you not play something like this? I feel like that's such a basic move to want to play. Like, that looks like just obvious. That's actually what I thought he was going to play, but he pushed the pawn. Best move on the board. And then we get knight g3. Best move on the board for me. a4. And in this position, I blundered my knight. Not actually, but I didn't blunder my knight, but I will lose a piece. And the reason being is because after d takes, b takes. I believe it's... Can I sack here? No, you can't sack yet. It says knight g4, knight knight g4. Takes. And then he gets the knight, and now his queen is threatening. That is why that is a blunder. Instead he plays here, which is interesting, because now I can push this pawn. Or can I? Because this loses everything. This literally loses everything. And in my head, I can see my opponent playing the bishop here. I can see the opponent playing the bishop here. Or here. Maybe here. Maybe here. You want to pause the video and try and figure it out? Be my guest. But my opponent, in his perfection, played bishop f8, the best move on the board, because he is not going to be blocking his queen or his rook. Apparently, if you moved it over here, that would have been, like, it would have been fine, but it wouldn't have been as good. But sliding the bishop back here was just diabolical. And after this, we get bishop d2, and then the d pawn takes on c3. Bishop takes back on c3, and now his bishop takes. And look at my opponent's time, by the way. He has used hardly any time, and we are in a super complicated position on move 17. Like, I get it. You get in familiar territory. I understand that. Kudos to you if you know your theory, but dude, 9 times out of 10, you don't know what to do here, and playing all the best moves is just crazy to me. But I guess you can also think, well, I'm thinking because I'm down a lot of time. But I don't take here. His bishop now takes, and the reason why I didn't take this is because I didn't want to get his knight to be able to get in. And as it stands, I'm currently down a pawn. And then we get knight d4. And I slid my bishop up. I don't really know why I did that. I didn't really need to do anything about my bishop. I basically just lose a little bit of a tempo there. Nothing crazy, but he doesn't even take there. He moves his knight there. And the reason why the knight's not hanging is because after I take, he just takes the knight right back. So, logical. So I move my knight back to g4 now because obviously it was hanging there from the queen. And now after this we get queen e7. Once again, the best move on the board, played in 6 seconds. Congratulations, bro. You played yourself. You got your account banned for queen e7. Why would you move queen e7? I mean, queen f6 makes sense. What, queen e7, bro? Get out of here. All right, queen e7, rook ac1. Sorry, I have a special hatred for cheaters. And of course, magically. Yeah, I guess that's fine. So he takes. He takes back. I take his knight now. I take his knight. And I'm still losing here because his bishop is now sniping this pawn. And if I ever move this pawn, this is going to push. I'm going to slide over. His bishop will then take. And I can't even get my rook over here because now the pawn's going to be covering. So, I played rook a1. And once again, 7 seconds. Ooh, new record. Rook d7. And rook e1. Just takes on b3. 5 seconds. Rook b1. Rook takes on d3. Knight e2. Pawn a2. Slide the rook over. And you want to see if you can find the best move? Go ahead. Pause it. He didn't play the top engine move. Rook d2 would have been better. Because his stockfish engine is probably poverty too. Now the pawn pushes to b3. And I played rook cb1. Because I am just an absolute airball. Because in my head I'm thinking, oh, if he takes, I can get his rook. Ha-ha! But when he takes, he can promote to a queen. And that's pretty basic. And at this point, I was crashing out probably. So I just was upset about it. So that is game 2. Gotta love it. Cheaters. And I did, by the way, I did get all my rating back for these games. So chess.com did make it right. So props to them. It's not always as easy to spot cheaters. So I want to give my full kudos to them for being able to spot cheaters and get them off the platform. Because they are toxic and don't belong on chess.com. So, with that being said, guys, let's get into our third and final game. Alright, so for our third and final game, I am playing with the black pieces in this one, and my opponent has the white pieces. And I looked at this guy's account too, and this guy has also only played I think he only played like 40, between 30 and 40 games, I think is what it was. And in the review says, by the way, the review says he played like a 2200. Perfect chess. He did have a blunder though, so that was probably when he turned off the engine, but we'll get into that. So the game opens up with e4. And if you know me, I am the absolute biggest Caro-Kann player, because the Caro-Kann is the best opening in chess, and it's not even close. The Caro-Kann, goated, best opening. If you ever want to progress in chess, I have been playing this opening since I was 900 elo. I will talk about it all day. Yes, you're going to hear me yap. I don't care. Play the Caro-Kann defense if you are low elo and learn how to play it. I highly recommend you do it. I literally played the Caro-Kann from 900 elo to 2000 elo. Swear. Every single time I saw e4, I played Caro-Kann. Perhaps it's better to learn more openings, but when you simplify it, it's easier. So, just a note for you. Anyways, game continues with d4. I play the basic Caro-Kann d5, and now my opponent moves the knight here. So anytime when you do play the Caro-Kann, your opponent does not take this pawn. So, because if your opponent takes this pawn, you always take back. If your opponent, so let's say your opponent played here. Anytime they play there, you always move your bishop out. And if they move their bishop here, you always take this bishop. But, and I'm going to show you a quick fun trap real quick if you guys didn't know this. If your opponent plays pawn here, you must play here. And the reason why you play there is because you're creating an escape route for your bishop. But let's say you don't do that. Let's say you move your bishop here. Now, your opponent can push their pawn, attacking your bishop here. And your bishop can't take back because it's being covered by the queen and the rook. Now let's say you go here. And after they play here, yes, you have an escape route still, but you're undeveloping, you're losing a lot of tempo. And this is winning for white because of that. You play here, you're just going to lose your bishop. But let's say you played something like this. You're losing your bishop no matter what here, because after here, attacking the bishop, if you go here, this pawn's going to push. If you go here, this pawn's going to push. And where is your bishop going to go? All these squares are covered. You're cooked. So, no for you there. Fun fact. However, if your opponent doesn't do anything with this pawn, and like moves their knight out, you always take here. Every single time, take. I don't care what it is. Always take. So the knight takes back. And I move my knight here because I am a Tartakower Caro-Kann player, and that line has all sorts of stuff, but we won't get into that. And my opponent plays knight g5, which is the most annoying chess opening in the history of chess. And the reason being, they sack their knight. And this right here is called the Alien Gambit. And by the way, I actually just uploaded the video a little bit ago covering how to beat the Alien Gambit when you are playing the Caro-Kann. I recommend you check that out. It will be on the YouTube page, so go check that out if you want to get better at the Alien Gambit. So after this, obviously the best move is to take. And chess.com does say you are up 1.7 or 1.6 on the eval bar, but you have to play perfect freaking chess to stop this. And my opponent plays the best move, which is knight to the knight to f3. And I played here. And that is a bad move. The best move in this position is to play here, because if the pawn takes, you get the queen off the board, and if you can get that queen off the board, you're golden. You are golden. You're winning. You're completely winning. Now, if you play here and then they play here, you actually, like, the most obvious move to me would be to move the bishop here. But you're dead. You're completely dead. Because after the knight comes here to check, you can only go here or here, and after you go here, you lose the bishop. So the only move to play here would be to push the pawn. Only move. And I'll spare you all the gory details with that. But instead of playing the best moves, I played bishop here first, because I got scared. Now, I'm not completely losing yet. There's still a lot of questions still a lot of questions he has to answer in order to put me in a more vulnerable spot. So he played c4, I played g5. My thought process there was like, okay, get the bishop in the game. Then we get bishop d3. I play knight d7. And he played the bishop here, which is fascinating. And like these moves, like they're mistakes, but they create like so many things you have to think about. And by the way, if you look at my time, I'm literally at 5:32. I've used so much time because I'm so unfamiliar with Alien Gambit. Even though I'm a big Caro-Kann player, the Alien Gambit has been my arch nemesis against it. So that's why I made a video studying it. So after that, we get h3. I go to h5, and that loses on the spot because of g4. Or sorry, it draws the game after g4, because after I go here, which is the only move, The bishop will now take on g6. I take back. After queen e2, this move would have been to play h4 apparently. Okay, so yeah, I think this guy, like also one more thing too, like the fact that he has used no time, baffles me, because I played moves there where you would probably have to think, right? I played here, and I played queen c7, and now I am losing. Because of h4, and he found that move in 6 seconds, magically. And my best move here is to play king g7. But I play bishop g7, still not a bad move. And he doesn't even take the pawn. He castles, which is apparently the best move on the board. Unbelievable, bro. Then I played rook a e8. After spending another minute trying to think and figure out what is happening here. Now my opponent checks me. I slide down. Only move. And now this position is completely lost. Completely lost because these pawns are way too powerful. This rook's going to be coming into the game. This rook will probably eventually be coming in the game. The bishop is sniping. The knight is coming in. The queen is sniping all these squares. It's over for full drive. Now the pawn takes. Obviously the best move on the board. What else would he play in 1 second? Beautiful technique there from Cheater. And then I take here. I'm like, ooh, yes, fork. Big fork. But that literally just loses a knight. Due to queen check on f5. And I move my knight back. And now it is mate in 4. Because after pawn pushes, check. Go in here. I go here. He takes. In this position, I resigned. And also this guy's, I think I mentioned this at the beginning of this game, he only played like 20 games, I'm pretty sure. Or no, it's between 30 and 40, I think. So, yeah, guys, don't cheat. Cheating is very unfortunate and annoying because when you cheat, you literally hurt the game of chess, you hurt its reputation, you hurt players who actually spend years, days, months, hours, seconds, minutes, whatever it might be, playing the game of chess, and it's just not worth it. Please don't cheat. And don't smurf either. Smurfing is stupid too. I mean, I know Hikaru does it, but like, unless you're playing, there's exceptions to that, but I don't like smurfing either. But overall, guys, don't cheat. It's not worth it. Learn how to play the game of chess. And progress and get better like a man. It takes time, just like with anything. Nothing worth having ever came easy. So guys, that is going to conclude our video. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and tell me what you thought of these games. Did you think these games were diabolical? Do you think these guys actually cheated against me? Tell me, I want to know. I think they did. Do you think they did? I really want to know. And also, tell me what your rapid elo, blitz elo, or bullet elo is. I'd love to know. I want to know how you play. What openings do you like? Do you play the Carl Con? Do you play the Gucci piano, the Italian, whatever it may be? I want to know. Tell me in the comments down below. And also, if you enjoy chess content, I highly recommend you subscribe to my channel. I upload these videos every single day, and I think you will find it very funny and very insightful if you are, in fact, a chess player. And also, we have a chess Discord server where we host chess tournaments, daily checkmates, a ranked chess system where you can collect XP, and as you progress in the game of chess and in the Discord server, you basically climb ranks and slowly improve as you go. A very, very new system that we are implementing, and I think you'll find it very, very helpful and very fun to do. So if that sounds interesting to you, the link is going to be in the description down below, and all you got to do is click that, hop in, and you're in. And one more thing as well as far as that goes, I also have a link to my WHOP store in the description down below. The WHOP store is what will give you access to the Tier 1 and Tier 2 sides of my Discord server. Tier 1 side, we have an elite chess club, a chess dojo, where I post training videos. I believe right now I'm doing 2 videos a week. And I also have a section where you can send me games, and I will review up to 3 games for you every single week to walk you through what exactly went wrong in your games, what went right, how you can improve, whatever it might be. I want to help you. That is my goal. I highly recommend you check that out. And then Tier 2 is also still in the works. That is for the absolutely and utterly dedicated chess players who are ready and on fire to level up their game of chess and listen to my teachings, because I have lost many times. I have won many times. But I went from 900 elo to 2000 elo in 5 years, and I want to prove to you that you can do it too. So if that sounds like something you want to do, go ahead and click that link, hop in, just go scroll, look around, see what you think of it. And if you have any questions, join the Discord and ask me. Alrighty, guys. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to check out this video. This video is very fun to make, and I think you'll really, really enjoy it. Alrighty, guys. For the 3,000th time, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace.